Hello, and welcome to Atomic Radio Hour, the show that dives into the wreckage that is post-apocalyptia. I am your host, Vince, and I'm also here with...
your fully automated host, Declan.
Hey, buddy.
How you doing, my friend?
I'm alright, dude. What's new?
Not much. I just got through a week of work, and now I have a 2-week hiatus. I'm doing a different thing for my school. It's kind of for the new students, like an orientation program. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited to kind of have a little change of pace, you know?
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
How about you, my friend?
I'm very tired.
It sounds like it.
Yeah, I've just been working real hard lately. Like, just going hard in the paint, as the kids say.
Do the kids say that nowadays?
I think so. I
think it's so hard to keep up with the trends, right?
Yeah.
I don't even know what a fortnight is.
I'm tired. I'm gonna try to go see this Dora the Explorer movie this weekend.
You're actually gonna see it?
Yeah.
I saw an ad for it on Twitter, and I was like, this looks unappealing.
Really?
Yeah.
I might go see it. I'm gonna ask Kyle if he wants to see it, just because.
Cool Uncle Kyle.
Yeah, cool Uncle Kyle. I'll see if he wants to see it, just because we made plans to see that and Sonic, but they pushed Sonic back to next year. So
thank God, honestly.
Yeah, we should have an edit. We should really have an episode. I want to do this a few episodes back, but we never got the chance to do it. That's just this fucking Sonic movie and OJ's Twitter.
Hey, Twitter world, this is yours truly.
Because
that's something.
I'm fucking enamored with OJ's Twitter. I can't get enough of it. I think it's crazy.
It's so bizarre because when I think OJ, I think of the news stories and the trials and shit, and how he murdered his wife. Yeah,
and her friend.
Yeah,
legend.
And that's all I can really think about. So it feels like a history, like something that happened in history, but this dude is still kicking, and he's on Twitter, and it's just so bizarre.
Imagine if Hitler just made a Twitter. He's like, "What's up, Twitter world?" Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's kind of like that, but a less exaggerated situation in my brain. It's just so weird. OJ?
Yeah.
I don't know. I know you do, but oh wait, I want to pull up my Twitter now.
He posts shit, and today it was I called BS, and it was he almost never puts tweets out. He puts videos out of himself.
That's kind of bizarre.
So it was I called BS, and my first thought was because the comments are a gold mine. They're a gold mine of just I didn't even read them for this one, but the thing was I call BS. And then I was like, I know the comments are just going to be like how you called BS when you got off with murdering your wife.
Yeah, I don't follow O.J. Simpson. He has 24 tweets, though.
24 tweets, and most of them I bet are videos.
They're all videos.
Dude, he made a video about how he was friends with Michael Jackson.
Jesus. He plays a lot of golf.
Yeah, I mean, I was listening to something, and they were saying about what his net worth must be now. And he has an NFL pension that's only I think $40,000 a year or something.
That's 40 free money. 40 grand free money.
It's a pension.
Yeah, but
he they were selling his memorabilia at an auction, and then he broke into the guy's house, and he's like, "You need to sell me this for less money." Not
that actually
give
happened?
me my memorabilia. He's like, I want to buy this from you, but for less money than what it was sold at the auction.
So the guy just got basically ripped off.
Yeah, oh no, I lost $1,000 on the OJ merch. I wonder how much an OJ jersey goes for.
You can probably look it up.
Where's my phone? Let's look it up.
Let's go on an adventure.
We'll get in the lore into a minute. Hold on a second.
This is very pressing.
Yeah, hold on. I'm sorry. I'm currently I downloaded the it's like a bubble game type, John. And it's Toy Story. So, that's been occupying my time, and I need to zone out on the couch. See, I'm on eBay. I got a notification. Let me check the notification quick.
Ooh, hear the cha-ching.
Brass, white, brass, round. No, I'm good. Nah, somebody wants to buy something, but it's grossly underpriced. I'm gonna cut a lot of this out. Okay, alright, here we go. You ready?
I'm ready.
I'm just gonna type in O.J. Simpson and see what comes up.
Do it.
Oh my god. 1970 Topps O.J. Simpson RC rookie card, number 90 on the Bills. I thought he was 32.
He was 32 on a different team, wasn't he?
Oh no, his overall rating is a 90. He was the man, dude. He was a fucking. I'm gonna show a little. Sorry that it's my cell phone. There's his card. He was the man, and he's really funny. Like, did you ever see The Naked Gun?
No, why?
He's in The Naked Gun, and he's really funny in The Naked Gun. The Naked Gun movies.
I don't think I've ever seen like anything produced by OJ.
Well, it's not that he's like he didn't make them.
Not like produced, but like anything that he was in like as an actor.
Declan. I can buy an unsigned custom sewn stitch O.J. Simpson blue jersey, medium large, extra large 2X. Guess how much?
I'm gonna guess $70.
35, 34, well 45, but it doesn't have a team on it.
Ooh, that's not a lot.
That's insane.
That's a jersey?
It's a jersey. Yeah, I'm looking at a bunch of them. That's
like so cheap for a jersey.
They're not great quality. But like he was such a fantastic football player and super funny, and like then he just murdered a bunch of people.
You know, it happens. It be like that
allegedly.
Sometimes.
But
yeah. Allegedly, in Minecraft.
He got away and then wrote a book called If I Did It, but whatever. You know, he had a fucking prank show called Juiced.
I feel like I just like awakened a part of my soul that was sleeping, because I did know that, but I completely forgot.
Yeah, it was called Juiced, and it was like he won the trial and didn't know what to do with himself, and this is like 98, 99, and they made a prank. It was like a pilot that was like a... So I don't know if you know this, but back in the day, VHSs used to like float around. Like you become like part of a mailing list that would get random, not blank, but like bootlegged VHSs that got passed around. There's a really good one called Apocalypse Pooh. That it's Winnie the Pooh.
Apocalypse Pooh?
Yeah, it's Winnie the Pooh. I don't know if it's a movie or if it's a couple like episodes of the TV show, but it's spliced over with Apocalypse Now dialogue.
I want to watch that.
I haven't seen the whole thing, because I've heard rumors that it's the whole movie, and then I've seen clips that are only like maybe 4 or 5 minutes long, but like it's Winnie the Pooh, and he's in his nightgown and his little cap, and he's carrying around this little pop gun, like you know those like cork pop guns?
Yeah.
And it's raining and it's pouring, and he's like walking by the window, and it's like, Saigon. I've been in Saigon for months now. Like,
oh my god.
That's
so
exactly what it said,
horrifying.
So like that's how South Park got started.
Really?
It was that Trey Parker and Matt Stone had made, it was called The Spirit of Christmas, and it took place in South Park, which is I think a real place in Colorado, and that was like the town that everybody in school would be like, yeah, it happened in South Park. Like it was like far enough but close enough away.
Yeah.
That it was like, that's where the shit went down. It was like a rumor amongst the kids.
It's like for us, like, with something happening in... You can bleep that out.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they made The Spirit of Christmas, and it's all stop motion, and that's where like the whole idea of it came from. And I think it's like Jesus fights Santa Claus or something.
It's Jesus versus Santa Claus, yeah.
Yeah. And then it was put on VHS and like duplicated and passed around, and people were getting jobs off of it because they didn't put their names to it or their real names, or people were just like, yeah, I'm Matt Stone, I'm Trey Parker, and they were getting jobs like working on television shows because of it. And then Comedy Central approached them, and like that. So there's a whole. I've never found it. I've looked it up maybe once or twice, but maybe I didn't. I don't remember. And I looked it up. It's called Juiced. And, like, one of the pranks that they do is OJ drives a white fucking Bronco with bloody handprints all over the Bronco.
Oh my
And would
Oh my
and he would
God.
drive up to gas stations and hop out, and people would see the car, and it's like 99, 2000, 2001. So people are just like, oh shit, a white Bronco. Like, the first thing I think of is OJ.
Right.
And then there's bloody handprints, and then, oh shit, there's OJ.
It's fucking OJ, yeah.
And he would get out, and, like, people would be like looking at him and be like, hey. And then he'd be like, I just gotta get a snack quick. And he'd run in and get like a bag of Doritos, a Mountain Dew, and a pack of gum, and get in the truck and drive off. Like,
Jesus.
imagine seeing that and your Nicole Brown Simpson's family.
I got a little getting even to do.
All right, so let's get into this lore.
Yeah.
So
That actually could be the highlight, just the tale of O.J. Simpson.
Fisto. Today's lore is on Fisto, everybody's favorite pleasure
hell
bot.
yeah.
The fully integrated security Technotronic officer, the only Protectron robot at Cerulean Robotics. Fisto can be reprogrammed to a sexual servant with the Wang Dang Atomic Tango quest. James Garrett asked to find a sex bot for a customer. He has more health than any other Protectron. He does not have operational lasers. He actually has really, really, really weak punches. And he relies on those weak punches to fight back. And he's also very slow. He's kind of just a shitty Protectron.
Mm-hmm.
The courier can have sex with Fisto regardless of gender. The screen will go black. It takes an hour from game time, and drill sounds will be played. Declan, do you add drill sounds?
Sure, right here.
Yeah, thanks.
Yep.
James Garrett's dialogue suggests that he always wanted a sex bot. Fisto might actually be for him. Fisto can also only attack with his right arm. There's a joke there somewhere.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it?
That's Fisto.
Did you find Fisto on your first playthrough of New Vegas?
Nope.
I did.
I didn't find Cerulean Robotics until like a week ago.
Really?
Before we divulge from there, I just want you to leave something in for the lore video.
Yeah.
So I don't remember if you were a part of it or not. In high school, every Thanksgiving we had a can drive, and the can drive was if you donated to the can drive, you could have a volleyball team, right? Mm-hmm. You remember this?
Of course.
So one year, I made a Fallout one, and we were the Vault Dwellers. Were you on this team?
Yes.
Were
I was.
you?
Yes.
So, okay, so the whole thing is like you get money together and you go to a place and you make shirts, and we were fucking broke asses. We just didn't have any money. And
I remember getting the blue T-shirt from Walmart and spray painting
Yes.
the yellow lines down it.
Yes.
And we just used like tape to kind of make it straight.
Yeah.
And the paint was just like hard and uncomfortable because it was spray paint.
I still have mine.
Mine's somewhere.
I don't know why. I picked gray. I couldn't find blue in my size. So everybody was blue and I was gray, and it was written in yellow paint, and I was 3-Dog and my number was 101. Do you remember what your name was? Because that was a big thing, was like when you put names, like every team was themed. So you'd have like The Office, and like the people who were dating on the team were Jim and Pam, and the fat dude was Kevin, and the guy who put up most of the money for the team, but they just kind of kept around because he had the money, was Michael. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and then there was other ones that were like jokes, like there was Off All Day was their name, and their names were like other synonyms for lazy. But their team slogan was "You can't beat," and their team name was "Off All Day." So then there was like there was one Steven's brother had that it was the elements, and everybody picked an element, and the elements when they all stood next to each other in the right order was no pussy shit.
Holy shit. I didn't know that.
You didn't know that, really?
No, I didn't know that one.
So he was telling me they only stood together once to get the picture, and the biology teacher walked over and was like, I saw your shirts, and if I see you line up again like that, I'm giving you all detention. Because he was a fucking prick.
Yeah.
But we were the Vault Dwellers, so we all picked names from Fallout. There was... I was Three Dog. There was another kid who was Elder Lyons. Somebody was Fox.
I don't remember who I was.
Were you Dog Meat?
I might have been Dog Meat.
I want to say... Okay, but one kid was Fisto. And he's like, dude, I want to be the fucking sex robot. I'm like, Fisto? He's like, yes, yes. So you had to get everything... Okay, you had to get everything approved. So Vault Dwellers was fine. Fisto was fine, right? Mm-hmm. The next year... Or the year after that... we
want to do the Bad Breakers.
We want to do the Bad Breakers because Breaking Bad was ending. No, this was the next year because I didn't have a team that year. We wanted to be the Bad Breakers. And they were like, what is it? And I was like, oh, like, what do the names mean? And I'm like, oh, we're all characters from Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
And they're like, you can't do that. It's a show about meth. And I was like...
Who gives a shit?
It's not like one kid's name was Roof Pizza. Like
yeah.
and I wasn't I don't even think my name was Heisenberg. It was just Walter because I shaved my head and I was like, "Oh, I'm going to wear a hat like his."
Yeah.
And I shaved my beard to be a goatee. And they're like, "Yeah, you can't do this." I was like, "But I shaved." But no, I just wanted to add that we had a Fallout volleyball team. So you could end the lore here.
Yeah, that's really fun.
Sorry.
I completely forgot about that.
About the Fallout volleyball team?
I completely just
the volleyball team?
Yeah, the volleyball team. I completely forgot.
No, yeah, it was a fucking point of my life that I did a thing that revolved to this. Yeah.
Was that the year that Fallout 4 was announced?
Nope. Fallout 4 was announced my senior year.
So that was the next year. That's when we were trying to do Bad Breakers.
No, it was your freshman year.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, the Fallout one was freshman year because I remember I started hanging out with you because now I started seeing you more. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yo, you got a team? And you're like, no. I was like, I got you.
Yeah.
Because
I know I missed the volleyball tournament a bunch of years for vacations or work or something.
Really?
Yeah.
I remember you missed it one year.
I think I missed it 2 out of the 4.
I don't even remember what my last one... Oh, the last one was Roscoe's wetsuit.
Was what?
Was Roscoe's wetsuit.
Yeah.
And we didn't put numbers or names. It was just Roscoe's wetsuit because one of my favorite albums ever had come out a year before. And I was like, dude, let's just name it Roscoe's wetsuit. So there's 6 dudes walking around the school. And if you know what Roscoe's wetsuit is about, we were like, we're not telling anybody what it means. So we're just walking through school and they'd be like, hey, what? And they were black, or they're white t-shirts with black prison lettering that just said Roscoe's wetsuit across the chest. And that was it. I have mine somewhere. I gotta find it. But yeah. Sorry, that was a tangent that I didn't want to go on.
No, it was fun though. So we're moving out of lore.
Sorry,
We've got some stuff to talk about. So this week we're gonna have a little bit of a light discussion. We're just gonna talk about our feelings about some stuff in video games.
Kind of like a think piece, right?
Yeah, more, kind of like a think piece. Just kind of just having a chat. And we want to be. We talked about it beforehand. We want to be really clear that what we're talking about are our opinions. We're not really trying to push anything on anyone, and we're not trying to take sides in any big overarching debates. We're just speaking how we feel, and we're gonna try our best not to cross any lines. You know what I mean? And I said this to Declan right before we started recording. When I kind of sat down and wrote up the thesis of the show, nothing is off limits,
but there's also the kind of like a common decency thing.
Yeah, and we're just gonna try to be decent for you guys.
And I think any sort of censorship whatsoever is wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when I came up with the idea, it was no religion, no politics, no money.
Right.
Unless it's like, hey, did you see the PlayStation 5's coming out? It's going to cost $600. Like that's different.
It's different than talking about like personal finances.
Exactly. So there's a few things that we're going to talk about that kind of dips into some topics that can seem more political, and I don't want you to think that this is now they're turning the frogs gay and they're putting chemicals in the water and chemtrails. It's not that. It's not. As fucking funny as that would be to sit here and just make up conspiracy theories, it's not. It's just certain things that affect us, and we just want to kind of give our opinion on it. We're not saying it's right. We're not saying it's wrong.
Mm-hmm. So with that little disclaimer kind of out in the open and out of the way, we are going to talk, of course, about video games, but specifically how sexuality plays into video games.
Sure.
Seeing that our lore was about Fisto, the sex robot, it's going to mostly revolve around sex itself, how like
sex itself
women...
as a verb or as an adjective.
I don't know. I'm bad at English.
What's
just
a pejorative? What's a pejorative?
I have no idea.
Fuck.
I always hated like parts of speech.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't know what an adverb is.
I speak English good.
I mean,
we went to public school.
Yeah, thanks. I was waiting for it. We got to say at least once an episode.
Yep, right. But it's gonna revolve around sex and other like explicit content. It's we're gonna touch on queer identities in video games, and just kind of like where sexualization of characters kind of plays into video games.
I want, if I can be so bold, kind sir.
Sure, absolutely.
Can we start with that quote that you sent me earlier?
Yeah, so I was looking at some articles earlier, and remind me to link our articles in the description below.
Okay.
I have two that I wanted to at least peruse.
I only know the one that you sent me.
Yeah, that was just a quote because this one is from an article that was posted on medium.com.
Okay.
It was posted in 2018, so it's a little bit old.
Okay.
But there's an excerpt, and it's...
Is this the one you sent me?
Quote, yes.
I'm going to look at it as you read it.
Okay. Sexuality, especially female sexuality, is a hotcake. It is one of the most defining factors in the purchase of a video game. It is a commodity, a dick fight, a competition between games. Which one can show more, expose more, and who can get away with it?
What is a dick fight?
Kind of like a cockfight.
So
that's what they were going for.
But are they going for like two chickens fighting, or are they going for a pissing contest?
It was kind of a play on words of cockfight, but like quite literally, like using sexual imagery.
But like, okay, so they're saying that which game could be more sexually objectifying?
Yes, and that plays a part in a consumer's likelihood to buy a game.
I'm gonna just tell you flat out.
Mm-hmm.
I've read this multiple times to make sure I didn't have a stroke, because some of the wording is weird, like a dick fight.
Yeah.
And I've never walked into a store to buy a video game and said, this one's got titties. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I've never... And did you know the thing about The Last of Us? With the cover art of The Last of Us?
Didn't it show Ellen Page naked or something?
What the fuck are you talking about? No, she's like 12.
Oh, the Ellie, yeah. But, like... Sorry, there was another thing that was, like, weird about that.
It was, I have my copy on the other side of the room, but I have a lot of things in front of me, so I can't grab it. Declan,
right.
Throw a picture up. I'm pretty sure the official artwork is of Ellie looking, like, off of the box, in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then Joel looking, who's, like, in the background, and she's in the foreground. And Joel's looking at Ellie, and, like, it's in this kind of landscape of a dilapidated city, right?
Right.
So like that's a lot being said right there. Is it's an apocalyptic game. Everything's overgrown. This girl is looking to what could be out there, and here's this man who is looking after this small child. Not small child, but like a child.
But this kid, yeah.
Sony said to them, put Joel up front because that's going to sell games. Because
The action hero being there.
the idea was men will buy it because they want to be the action hero, and women will buy it because they're attracted to that hero. And Naughty Dog, I think it's Naughty Dog who makes The Last of Us. They were like, no, that's not what the game is about. The game is not about Joel. It's about Ellie.
It's about Ellie, yeah.
Which, have you ever played The Last of Us?
Yeah, it's a great game.
That game is one of the only games that has ever made me cry, and it did it in the first 30 minutes.
Yeah, the first 30 minutes of that game, I pick it apart with my game developer brain. I fucking love it.
It's the Up of games.
It honestly is. That's how I would describe it.
Oh.
It's really good.
Driving around with your uncle? Oh, God.
Fuck.
So, when I read that, the only time I've ever thought anything was over-sexualized was a movie. I've never really looked at something and been like, that's over-sexualized. I just don't... I think a lot of games, especially now... Okay, so here's the thing. Do you think some games... Hold on. Before we switch topics, is there anything you want to say on what we read?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to fill in a little bit. Shortly after, it says, it kind of references the term sex sells as a way of, like, showing something attractive to drive profits.
Did you ever see those Hardee's commercials?
The ones where it's like the stripper eating the burger.
Yeah, it's like a stripper who only eats like pistachios a day, eating like a 2,700 calorie burger. Mm-hmm. And why do you remember that? Because there's a stripper eating a burger, not because like the Old Spice commercials.
Yeah.
Why do you remember them? Because they're funny.
They're funny, and also like there's like shirtless dudes.
Well, okay, I didn't even think of that. But okay, how about? Well, that doesn't even help either. Fuck, I was gonna say the Dos Equis commercials. Because the Dos Equis commercials are the most interesting man in the world, right? And those are fucking brilliant commercials.
Yeah.
And like, but even there is that slight sex appeal to it. I never thought of
like
that
guy's like this like Casanova, like this dude, this successful looking dude.
That he's an older guy, but still kind of has younger girls. Fuck, I never saw that. I really
this Hugh Hefner type dude.
But so many people love those commercials, and I don't think they're sitting there like, wow, this dude scores. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I remember. If
I drink Dos Equis, I'm gonna get all the young looking ladies.
See, but I never thought that. Like, are there people that genuinely think like that?
Yeah.
Like I've never.
There are some people that are just dogs.
No. I know. I work with old white men, but like.
Yeah.
But like I've never seen a commercial and been like, you know, James Dean. I've never seen a movie or something and been like, James Dean wears that jacket. I should wear that jacket.
I think it's a lot more subliminal. It's more about like portraying a certain status onto an object, and I don't think it's going to be like the active thought of like I have to wear that to be successful. It's more of like it's like the subliminal pattern recognition, and I could just completely be bullshitting. I don't know anything about the human psychology, but it's kind of the way I always saw it as like things get associated with other things based on like desirability. Like there's nothing that makes a Gucci belt better than a regular leather belt.
Then you don't understand Gucci.
Exactly. It's given a value.
Yeah, it's the same. Like Louis Vuitton, right? Yes. I love Louis Vuitton. I'm fucking, if I don't buy luxury anything, but if I go buy luxury anything, something about Louis Vuitton fucking does it to me. Their products never go on sale. If it doesn't sell, they just stop making it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like that's such a fucking. I also like history, and I think they have a nice little bit. So go on.
But I think it's very similar to that, where like something is given this mental value without anything to really back it up. It's kind of these things are given these like sexual values, and of course, Like, humans are animals just like anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
You're looking for a mate, you're looking for a partner. And I think they're really playing at that psychology there.
I guess.
It's not meant to make you have that active thought. It's meant to get a couple layers deep.
Okay.
And advertising theory is super interesting about that.
Yeah.
So, and I think that quote, it's not fair to kind of say it alone, because you're not getting that full context of,
Yeah.
like, this is kind of aiming more in the advertisement way, not literally saying, oh, anime titties, I need that, like, you know?
Yeah. So give me, sorry, I keep cutting you off, but give me the rest.
Have you ever heard the term sex sells? It can't be associated any better other than for video games. Since the 1980s, the games were driven by tropes of women, such as the damsel in distress, like in Mario, and woman in the refrigerator, like in Max Payne. The sad reality is that if a video game product has nudity, it will find an audience. It'll find an audience and in turn a market.
The woman in the refrigerator?
That's like the name of a trope. Like, the
You're
damsel
gonna-
in distress is
You're
the
gonna
name
have
of
to
a
look
quote.
up what woman in the refrigerator means, because I don't know that trope, and I fucking, what a name. But like,
Women in the refrigerator. A trope whereby female characters are injured, killed, or downpowered. An event gradual or collectively known as fridging that sometimes to stimulate protective traits and often a plot device for a male character's story arc.
oh,
So it's basically like depowering a woman so that a hero can come save the day.
okay,
know?
okay, that's really interesting. Okay, cool, because I want to expand on that.
Yeah,
Did you ever play Final Fantasy VII?
I did not.
Neither did I. You know how the big part of Final Fantasy VII is girl dies? Mm-hmm. There was a... Okay, so the way I kind of got into podcasts was NPR's This American Life, right?
You always told me about it. I really should listen to it.
I just like stories. I just want to listen to stories all day long. And they had one recently, and I don't remember the name of it or the number of it, but it was all about... The first half of it was all about Alara? Eris, right?
I
Declan,
think
while
so.
I'm talking, look up Girl Who Dies in Final Fantasy VII. It's all about how, like, the woman who's doing the interview is saying, like, my brother played this growing up.
Eris.
And Eris, I was right?
Yep.
Cool. Thank you. As my brother was growing up, he played this game, and she's like, I remember him crying when Eris died. And she's like a very one-dimensional character. But is it wrong to assume that women, when they are portrayed, have certain characteristics because a majority of women have those characteristics? Like, I was having this conversation recently with Noah and his sister, and I was saying I would trust a female teacher before I trust a male teacher. All of my favorite teachers were female because a woman has that natural mothering instinct, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yes, yeah.
So, like, every teacher that I had that was male kind of felt like they were just doing the job. Now, mind you, throughout when I was in school, I might have had maybe, let's say, 40 teachers, right?
Yeah, throughout like your entire academic career, yeah.
There are 40 million teachers. You know what I mean? So I had a very, 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 very small percentage of all
Yeah, like
teachers.
a small sample set, yeah.
But from my experience, I would trust I don't want to say trust, because it's not like, oh, a male teacher, he doesn't know what he's talking about. But my favorite teachers, the ones that were more sensitive, that were more caring, that when they spoke to you, it felt like that they cared about what you thought and how you felt, were always women. Young Heather.
Young Heather, she was a friend of the show.
Young Heather was the person who got me to like writing, because I wrote a story and she took me aside and was like, this is really good and you have something. And a male teacher, from my experience, would have just been like, you did a good job, kid. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, and maybe because I was raised by women, like I grew up around my mom, my sister, my grandmother, and I was fortunate enough to have my great grandmother in my very young, early development stages of my life, or until I was like 12, right? 11, 10, 12. So maybe I have a bit of a bias, right?
I mean, everyone has a bias one way or another.
Yeah.
But even though bias is usually seen as like a bad thing, I wouldn't really consider that a bad thing. It's just kind of the situation that you grew up in.
Oh, yeah, but sorry, I got derailed.
Sorry, go ahead.
So what I'm saying is when Eris dies, the woman doing the interview is saying that it's like, oh, the woman is dead, and now it revitalizes the team, and you go take down, what the fuck's his name? Sephiroth. I was called him Shigarath.
Drink water. Drink water. I've been listening to that all week.
I gotta listen to that again.
Oh, it's such a good album.
So, like, she's saying, like, she's not a good character. She's just pretty. She doesn't do anything. And
It was more of like, it's more of a symbol.
it's a
honestly.
symbol, but she was saying if it was a younger brother, because she's more of like a little sister character. So if it was a younger brother character versus a younger sister character, would it have been different? And
Would it have been as memorable as a moment? Like you're saying?
yeah.
Huh, I don't
Like
know.
in the
It's kind of an
beginning,
interesting question.
fuck, I don't want to spoil anything, but let's just say if the beginning of The Last of Us was flipped, without giving too much away, Declan,
Right.
if it was swapped,
Would it have been as memorable?
you know what I mean? And here's my retort to all of that. Good storytelling is good storytelling. You could get someone who has never written anything outside of an 8th grade English classroom to write something and use all the tropes in the book, and it's gonna be awful. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you get somebody like, let's say, like a Tarantino or a Woody Allen or a Kubrick, right? And
Someone that has like like a Tolkien, like anyone that like
An
can create
accomplished
massive
writer.
worlds. Yeah.
yeah, you can. Where one of Tarantino's things he's always said is, good artists, what is it? Good artists copy, great artists steal. Reservoir Dogs, his first movie, is like almost taken directly from a Japanese movie. Django has so many little things in it that are just references to other movies, that he's stealing these shots almost completely, but putting his own spin on it.
Yeah.
Good writing
I mean,
is just
art,
good writing.
Art is inherently referential.
That too. So I think the argument of like this is a little sister savior or a female savior isn't necessarily like, yes, if they wrote it to be that trope and it worked, sure, but sometimes it just fits better. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's just better writing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I definitely see where you're coming from.
Like,
And I agree, and I think it has a lot to do with your personal culture. Like
okay.
like I am more inherently drawn to queer people in writing and in games and in movies because I identify with that. I think it has a lot to do with something that identifies with your personal experience. If you're a big brother and you have a little sister, you're going to have that inherent protection. Like, oh, I'm going to protect the small girl. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. I didn't think of it
Like
from that standpoint.
that kind of it relates more to your own personal experience.
Now, let me ask you this. And if you want me to cut it out, tell me.
Sure.
Before you came out, before you like understood, if that makes sense, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
did you
Before I
find
got my
yourself,
shit figured out.
Did you find yourself drawn to those characters prior?
I feel like I did, but not for like the same reasons. It was more of like seeing things at that point. It was seeing things from a different perspective,
Okay.
and I was just kind of being adventurous in my choice of things I consumed. And I think that has a lot to do with just kind of like being a teen. Kind of those are very explorative times.
Yeah. But like, okay. I want to kind of come back to the sexualization of things real quick.
Yeah. Well, I feel like this episode's gonna be very like
All over the
tangent-y.
place, yeah.
And that's not a problem. Like I said, we're having a chat.
The only time I've ever sat there and said, "Oh, this is overly sexualized to take advantage of somebody," is Suicide Squad. Only time. And
I remember when you said that, because when I remember you went and you saw it. And
I've never seen
never
it.
saw
I refuse to see it.
Yeah.
I will not give that
No?
schlock money. No way.
Well,
God,
I
no.
remember
Jared
around when
Leto-
the
hold on,
trailer
let's
had
talk
come
about
out.
fucking Jared Leto as the Joker. What are you fucking kidding me? And now not Russell Crowe. What's his name? Joaquin.
do
Joaquin
you feel about
Phoenix
that?
is gonna play the Joker. I'm gonna see it, but I don't. So go on.
All right, but sorry. I remember around the time when those trailers were out, and when it was out, you had said to me that that's just like over sexualization, and I looked at you and I was like, it's usually not like you to say that.
Yeah, I
and
was disgusted.
I wanted to know your thoughts on it, and I think I wanted to portray that before you kind of tell your part of the story. That it kind of, I don't want to phrase it like this, but it was like even Vince thinks it's too sexy. You know?
See, and I think what it mostly is not that like I sit there and I look for, oh, that's over sexualized, oh, that's this, oh, that's that. I kind of look at it as like that's somebody's vision to an extent. Mm-hmm. So if you saw it that way, that's how you saw it. You know what I mean? Like there's tons of movies that are over sexualized, but maybe that's the style it's going for. Like going back to Tarantino, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood takes place in the 60s. It's 69, right?
Right.
So there was a lot of backlash that Margot Robbie, who played Sharon Tate, like she doesn't have shoes on for a lot of the movie, and Tarantino, it's like known that he has a foot fetish, and it's like he did it in almost all of his movies. There's women walking around without shoes on. Uma Thurman plays Mia Wallace. She's dancing no shoes in Jack Rabbit Slims.
Yeah.
Kill Bill, which I think the Kill Bill 1 and Kill Bill 2 might be my favorite Tarantino movie.
Really?
Yeah, I was having a conversation. I think it's like that and then Django. In that, there's a scene where she's like, wiggle your big toe, and it zooms in on her feet. In Dusk Till Dawn, there's fucking... I can't think of her name. The actress comes out with a boa constrictor and pours champagne down her leg, and it drips off of her feet into Quentin Tarantino's mouth. Like, okay, the dude's obviously got a fetish, right?
Yeah, right.
But at least he's not making them strip naked on film. You know what I mean?
Like, though it's in your face, it's not...
No, it's in your face. In Once Upon a Time, it's in your face, but it's not like it doesn't make sense. It's not like it's just there for the sake of being there.
Yeah.
It's the 60s. It's the late 60s. It's the Manson family 60s. So, like, when the one girl hops in Brad Pitt's car, she puts her feet up on the dash, right? Mm-hmm. And the way it's shot is it's an interesting shot because her feet are just kind of off of screen. And... like, you acknowledge that they're there, but it's not like you're like, oh, look, the feet. And there's another scene that I love the way it's shot, that Sharon Tate, Margot Robbie playing Sharon Tate, is watching the movie that Sharon Tate is in the theater, right?
Oh, that's kind of cool. I haven't seen it yet.
It's really good. You should. And she takes her shoes off and puts her feet up on the seat and watches the movie. But when you're watching that scene, I remember being so engrossed into it because the movie, the screen of the movie is in full focus.
In focus, yeah.
But her feet are like slightly off center and they're out of focus. So I felt like that was the person in front of me watching the movie. So, like, it felt like it had purpose. When she puts her feet
it's purposefully done, is what you're getting at.
Yeah, like when she puts her feet up on the dash, right? Mm-hmm. She puts her feet right against the window, and it kind of opens up this, like, way too familiar sense. Like, she's way too comfortable with Brad Pitt's character already, and this is the first time they've spoken more than just looking at each other from the car while they're driving. So...
Right. Yeah.
It's meaningful. It's not just like here's feet for the sake of feet. It's she's kind of walking all over him in his kind of bubble in a sense, right? And
Right,
it
yeah.
alludes to like the next shot where they go to a place and somebody has their feet on a TV screen. So it's like a little bit of like, and it's not like the feet are zoomed in on. It's a group shot of a bunch of people. Someone's laying on the floor and their feet are just on a TV screen. It doesn't zoom in on the TV screen. But I thought I could be looking too deep into it. But still,
I think you do. I think you like to analyze media. I think you really do.
I do. But
Yeah.
Suicide Squad.
Yes.
The whole point, and like the whole point of Harley Quinn and the Joker's relationship is that it's an abusive relationship. The Joker is taking advantage of Harley. Harley is in like a weird. So for those who don't know, and Kyle, shout out to you, buddy. This one's gonna give you a fucking semi. I know it. Harley, she was a doctor. She was a psychiatrist. Her name was
Yeah,
Dr.
Dr.
Harleen Quinzel. And she worked at Arkham Asylum, and she was assigned to the Joker's case or whatever while at the asylum, and she fell in love with the Joker and pretty much turned her into a batshit crazy killing machine, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's abusive. He treats her like shit. He gives her validation only when it's
It's useful to him.
yeah. So here's this movie where they get a beautiful actress to wear the most god-awful fucking suit I've ever seen for a modernization of a character. The original Harley Quinn, because there's a DC bad guy whose name is the Harlequin, which is a totally different thing. For
Yes.
Harley Quinn, it's this one piece, and don't get me wrong, it's form-fitting, right?
Right.
But at least it keeps with the theme. At least it keeps with the idea of a clown. At least it keeps with she has her face painted. And then like the Arkham Asylum games did it, and they kind of scamped it up a little bit. And I remember there's one where you throw Batman throws Harley over his shoulder, and like yeah, you could see her full ass is hanging out. I don't remember which game it is, but like I get why they did it. It was the modernization of it. I don't think it was right. But it's not as egregious as Suicide Squad.
Where it's more gratuitous.
The whole marketing of Suicide Squad was come see Margot Robbie in fishnets and pretty much underwear, wearing a shirt that says "Daddy" on it, and in every trailer it's her putting her shirt on or taking her shirt off. Like
That's just excessive.
that's like this is going to be a too much. This might sound too much, but it's like sexualizing someone with Down syndrome. Hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out. Would you sexualize someone who's a victim of some sort of sexual assault?
Oh, absolutely not.
That's what you're doing. You don't think that within like they don't ever show it, but the Joker would be sexually assaulting Harley?
I definitely think that's within reasonable explanation because of their relationship. It's abusive.
So do you understand what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
you're sexually glorifying somebody who does have a mental disorder, right? Stockholm syndrome. She's definitely got something that's help me here. You hear me fucking floundering?
Yeah.
Like
I was gonna say Stockholm syndrome.
but like and that is a mental disorder, is it
Yeah.
not?
She's been manipulated.
Okay.
Conditioned.
Is Down syndrome not a mental disorder?
That's a physical disorder.
Okay, I apologize then. I am mistaken. What is a mental disorder? I have spoken. I want to apologize.
What about like just like regular?
Is autism?
Yes.
Everything. The definition of everything changes so fast that I don't know how to keep up.
Yeah.
So okay,
I'll say just like regular off-brand psychosis.
which is give me an example.
Literally just like becoming a psycho, like mental instability.
So I need context.
I'll just read the definition.
Is it really physical?
Yeah,
Down
you have
syndrome.
less or more chromosomes.
But doesn't it affect your brain?
Yeah, but like you can like say another mental disorder, is technically like depression and anxiety. You can develop that.
Okay, so would you sexually glorify someone who's depressed? Like,
No, in fact, that there's been big controversy about that in recent years.
do you understand what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you're glorifying somebody with a mental disorder for their body, which is something that is
That's some fuck shit.
which is something that is out of their control, that has been put onto them. And in Harley's case, it's she's been manipulated to the point where this is where she gets some of her only points of validation from the Joker. That's what we're gonna sell on.
Yeah.
What are you,
And
nuts?
it's wrong. Like,
People
that's just
walking
wrong.
around with Daddy's Little Monster t-shirts, like, oh, I'm cute because I'm Harley. You don't understand the character. Like, that's...
Like, that's yeah. I know exactly what you're getting at.
And that's why I was so upset, because that's why I get upset about these fucking superhero movies, too. That's an argument for another day. Fucking
Another
follow source material. 80 fucking years of Batman has been written. You can't fucking follow the source material, make a good movie. But, like...
But I would, at some point, I know that we're kind of like mid-discussion, I would want to move on to another aspect of
Sorry. Go. I apologize.
No problem. I'm not trying to silence you. I want to be very clear. I want to touch on sexuality in video games from a representation standpoint.
Okay.
That being queer representation in games.
Uh-huh.
So I've got a quote from another article. It was one that was posted on Games Radar.
Can you before you do that, can you define queer? Because it feels like
Yes.
3 years ago I couldn't use that word, and now it's okay to use again.
I'll get the Merriam-Webster dictionary.
Because that's another thing that I'm not too keen on, is that as soon as a word is outlawed, you can't say it. Like, is it offensive to say black, or is it right to say African American? But what if I'm talking to someone who's of African descent, but they're in Asia? You know what I mean? And they're from there. Because I thought black was the universally accepted term, but I could be wrong. Like, oh, hey,
So
there's
there are
the black guy
multiple-
who helped me jump my car before. You know what I mean? Like,
Right, yeah. So there are a couple different entries for queer in Merriam-Webster. The
Okay.
first one means differing in some way, that is something that is unusual or
well,
out of-
that's just like
or
if I,
strange.
if I
Yeah.
saw someone with a green hat and a blue shirt, I'd be like, oh, that's queer. Like,
yeah, like odd, strange, weird.
but what is the sexual queer?
Of or relating to or characterized by sexual or romantic attraction to members of of your own sex.
So a
B
gay guy.
definition would be
Okay,
would be
or a woman.
Yeah. The B definition is relating to or characterized by sexual or romantic attraction that is not limited to people of a particular identity or orientation. Meaning, someone that falls in the LGBT community. That's what we usually go for when we talk stuff about queer politics.
Okay, so I want to ask you a question then, and I feel like I already know the answer.
Sure.
Do you feel like sometimes it's being forced down your throat?
No.
Like it's being done just for the sake of doing it, not that it has
Yes.
good intent. It's just done. That's what I meant
Yes.
by that.
Yeah,
because
that-
I think
that actually, I'm
Borderlands
gonna-
does it
I am
all
gonna
the
cover that.
time.
I'm going to cover that. That's actually called queer baiting.
Yeah, Borderlands
Yeah.
does it constantly.
Less than you think, actually.
No,
But
no. You want to talk about how Borderlands does it?
I have
Borderlands
I have a
3?
bit on that later.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So I have a quote from this article that I wanted to read.
Okay.
Because it kind of surprised me.
Okay.
And that is 179. That is the number of commercially released games my search found that featured queer characters. It might seem like a lot, but in the grand scheme of thousands upon thousands of released games, it's really not much. It's even less when you consider how few of those characters are even significant. Of those 179 games, only 83 have queer characters who are playable, and of those, only 8 feature a main character that is pre-written as queer, as opposed to having the option to be queer. That's
Okay.
just 8 characters.
Can I just say something quick?
Sure.
I understand people want to play something that they're used to or that they feel comfortable with,
Yes.
but part of going into a movie or a video game, I feel like, is to be in the shoes of another person. And I understand if it's easier for you to fall into those shoes, to fill those shoes, if it's something that you already identify with.
But it's also good to be adventurous.
No, it is, and I'm not saying it's
Yeah.
wrong, but I'm just saying, like, I've never, like, I'm trying to think of a game that has, like, a playable character who's gay in it.
Exactly.
Like, but a lot of the games I play allow you to choose that. Like, Fallout allows you to choose that. Skyrim allows
you
you
play
to
a
choose
lot of
that.
RPGs, so that's kind of falls into the 183 games have queer playable characters. It's because you have the option to do so.
And like, the first gay character I thought of was the guy you meet in The Last of Us. I don't remember his name,
don't
but
remember
it's
his
at
name.
the school. And
Yeah, I just don't remember his
the
name.
only way you find out he's gay is because he had, like, male porno that Ellie
yeah?
picks up. Like, that's the only way, and
I
that's
don't think I caught that.
yeah, exactly. See, that's what I think is, like, I'm not going to say it's the right way to do it, but I think it's, like, a good way to do it because it doesn't just generalize them as gay. It's not
Yeah.
just, I'm a gay. It's
It's part of who they are, but it's not their character trait.
not the selling feature.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like a bonus add-on. Yeah.
So this article is actually kind of I liked it. I read it. It was it was produced in 2018.
Can I add just one more thing to that?
Sure.
They didn't say what games that they were covering, if they were covering all AAA titles, if they were covering indie titles as well.
They have a couple of mentions in here. Fallout has a mention.
Really?
Fallout 2, actually, to be more specific.
Fallout 2 uses that F word we're not allowed to use anymore.
Yeah, actually. But
But again, it's made by a gay guy, so does it, like...
it's a fine line. So the first game to actually
Can you
feature a
say
queer
it?
character, me,
Yeah.
I could, but I just prefer not to.
Say it.
No, I'm good.
Aw. Think about all that power you have with that word.
It's a power.
Like, can I
choose to-
say it? Because my best friend's a gay guy.
No, it's like it's not. You don't get the F word pass, like the
No, you
the
never
N word
heard that?
pass.
Like, oh, I could say that. My best friend's black. Like,
Yeah, you don't have the N word pass and you don't have the F word pass. But the first game to actually feature a queer character was 1986's Moon Mist, where one of the randomly selected plot lines featured an artist, Vivian, who was in a relationship with another woman, Deirdre.
huh. So in 1986, the gays were invented.
Yep, that's when the gays were invented. But it was a side character.
Okay.
Also, Deirdre was already dead, so that goes into Bury Your Gays. We're going to talk about Bury Your Gays. More significantly, in 1998, Fallout 2, it was the first game to include same-sex marriage, but it included it in a time where same-sex marriage was still illegal. So that's a point of note.
That's good though, no?
Yeah, this was before civil partnerships even existed in the UK, to put that in perspective.
Well, when did civil partnerships... Did I ever tell you the civil partnership story?
I don't think so.
When I was on Facebook, this was years ago, a buddy of mine put on that he was in a civil partnership or a civil something, and someone goes, and they're like, oh, cool, what does that mean? He goes, I don't know, dude, but it sounds like the Civil War. And I looked it up, and I was like, dude, it's pretty much a gay marriage without being married. And he's like, oh, and then he changed it.
Oh, poor
and,
kid.
like, I watched it, like, unfold in real time. Because it was like,
Those are-
I saw
those are-
him change it. I saw the comments come in, and then I saw him change it back.
Oh my god. That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But civil partnerships came around in like the early 2000s, mid 2000s.
Okay.
But yeah, most games that are involved like same-sex marriage and topics like that are RPGs because it gives you those customizability options.
Yeah.
Big story games that are kind of note here. BioWare does a decent job. I know Mass Effect and Dragon Age do a pretty good job at queer representation.
Okay.
Where you have the options to marry and bone people of the same sex. The only canonical in Borderlands is Janie Springs and Athena.
And I love her. I love Janie Springs.
That's the only canonical gay in those two.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like that game had a lot more sexuality in it.
I mean, it's always that game's always been sexually provocative, but those are the only canonical gay characters from.
I also I want to say this as a side note because you said that I hate like sex humor.
It's easy. That's the only.
Oh my god!
It's so
It's the
easy.
bottom. There's I think it's Jay Leno. I was watching something with Jay Leno about writing jokes, and he said your first punchline is going to be something with a curse word in it, and your second punchline is going to be something about sex. Throw them out and use the third one.
Yep.
It's just sex humor is the bottom. It's like political humor. Like anybody,
It's
any
so
fucking
goddamn
any
easy.
monkey with a typewriter could bang it out.
Yeah.
But no, I feel like Borderlands did it way more.
I think it's just because it had sexual humor all the time.
Borderlands does a really good job at making interesting female protagonists.
I agree.
It's one of the only games that, like, it's not just girl for sake of girl. It's girl that is useful.
Yeah. It's someone
no,
that's
it's person who is useful and is girl.
yeah.
But like, have you been watching any of the trailers or anything?
For the new Borderlands.
Yeah.
I only saw the E3 one.
That's the only one I saw, but I think it was Cool Uncle Kyle sent me a message saying, because I'm going to play the robot Beastmaster, and he was like, oh, he's non-binary. And I just went, why the fuck does that matter? He's a robot. And I was like, oh, haha, non-binary, robot, binary. Like, I get the joke, but like...
It's easy.
But no, not that it's easy. It's, you made that statement before the game came out to sell copies. Because now you've taken advantage of a group of people that identify that way, and you say, oh, I'm going to play the game and play as him, instead of you getting the natural experience of you playing the game
And uncovering
then
that
learning
story.
that.
Yeah.
And that's why, like Pride Month, which we just left
We
a little
talked
while
about that,
ago,
yeah.
like, as soon as it turned into the next month, it was fucking
Profile pictures. No longer rainbows.
Yeah, no more. Like, who cares? Like, and the fact that it becomes a marketing scheme. You walk
It
into
does, yeah.
You
And it's a shame.
into-
It honestly is a shame.
like, imagine if the fucking Lithuanian flag was on a Whopper. You know what
It's
I mean?
Lithuanian Awareness Month.
Like, but you understand what I'm saying? Like, if it
Yeah,
was just
it's
like
pandering.
a fucking, it's pandering, and they're like, fucking, I hate pandering. I hate when shit fucking panders to lowest common denominator. I'm not saying that the gays are lowest common denominator. I'm saying that they're pandering to, like, okay, say you're like 13 and you just came out, right? Mm-hmm. And let's say your parents are kind of old school and they're not saying that you're wrong or that you're not welcome in the house anymore, but they just don't know what to do because they're from a different time.
Right.
Right? Doesn't make them wrong. It's just they don't know what to do, and this is new. Right? The
Right.
only exposure they might have to anything that isn't straight is that, fucking Terry at work, he brought his boyfriend to the fucking company picnic one time. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, like, you could be a 13-year-old kid and experience, like, oh, Burger King's wrapping up fucking chicken. I don't know why I keep going to... No, you know why I keep going to Burger King? Because they now have vegan Whoppers, and they're fucking delicious.
Really? I haven't tried it
Oh,
yet.
dude, they're fucking crazy. I went with Noah the other day. But, like, it could be like, yo, we're wrapping up fucking chicken sandwiches in Pride wrappers. Great, but when I buy the sandwich, how much is going to aid the victims that were shot down in that club? Like,
Yeah,
you
Pulse,
understand what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like,
I know exactly what you're saying, and the commercialization of gay culture is a double-edged sword because, like you said, it increases visibility. It lets people that are discovering themselves know that they are seen and that they're okay and that they're a part of this
no, it
society.
doesn't show that. It shows them that their dollars are seen because dollars don't have gender. Dollars don't have sex. Dollars are not sitting there going, I want the thing, be it male or female, in the red down the bar for me with the painted nails and the fucking hair done up and the glasses and the post fucking contemporary haircut. Like, your dollars, money is binary. You either have it or you do not.
No offense, but let me finish my thought.
Sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm just saying that, like...
But seeing that visibility, it helps. Whether it's done properly, that's another debate. But being able to look out the window and see that what I am is okay, you can't put a price on that. that being said, a lot of companies take that to the extreme. They pander, and it's become this commercialization, and it's kind of it eats away at the grassroots, like actual part of queer culture, and that is an issue. And I do agree with your sentiment, but there is that part of visibility that you just don't have to worry about that.
See, I don't agree with that, because I look at it as the commercialization of nerd culture, right? Like it's not the same, but hear me out.
Yeah.
And this is something that I've been bothered by for a long time. I remember being in school, being a youngster, being a lad, and oh, you played video games? Like you like Pokemon? You're in high school. You're 14. You still like Pokemon? Like you like comic books? You collect action figures? You're how old and you still build Lego sets? Like, okay, first off, I don't play with them. I just like to build shit. But like,
it's like fried chicken. Who doesn't like Legos?
Yeah, but then it's like, oh, you like comic books? You fucking loser. Iron Man comes out. Watchmen comes out. Spirit comes out. Fucking the bastardization that is the Batman movies comes out.
Oof.
Cowboys versus Aliens comes out, which was originally a graphic novel. You good?
Yeah, I was
thought
just
you
getting a
fell.
drink.
All this other shit starts coming out, and it slowly starts to become cool to be a nerd. And it's like, yeah, I'm a nerd. I saw all the fucking Marvel movies. I've seen all 26 movies that have come out. Okay, what else? Like, what else have you done? Like, I know it's not the same as being gay, but that's my culture. I identify as a nerd. I identify as somebody with a niche like in something, with a hobby that I collect. And
you take it seriously.
Don't get me wrong. The same type of fanaticism, if that's a word, that I have for blue and yellow here, as I'm pointing to my shelf, Declan.
You're everything, yeah.
As the fanaticism I have for the money that I've spent on a fictional flag that is a representation of this fucking fiasco. I'm holding up the bag. This fucking fiasco.
Yeah, Baggate. The duffel kerfuffle.
The amount of love and passion and dedication that is put into this is the same as people who like sports. So people who like sports that buy all the memorabilia, who put time aside to make sure that they watch the games. They cosplay as their favorite character, as their favorite player, by buying their jersey.
Extreme sports fans are just cosplayers. Let's be real.
No, but you understand what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying.
It's the same parallel. Like, anybody who's interested in something is a nerd in something. So when I see shit like when Pokemon Go came out, perfect example. I was still balls deep into Pokemon when Pokemon Go came out, right? Mm-hmm. And then, oh, you're playing it. And you're playing it. And you made fun of me 3 years ago for bringing my Game Boy to school and playing it. And you used to give me dirty looks back in the day because I used to play it. And you told me it was lame to begin with. And you told me you were a Yu-Gi-Oh guy, which, whatever, I'll let that slide. But, like, you're playing it too. So, are you playing it because it's the cool thing to do? Or are you playing it because you care about this? You have time invested in this. When you were 8, 9, 10 years old, you remember talking to your buddies going, man, how fucking cool would it be to ride a Dragonite or a Gyarados or a Lapras? Like, why?
And I see exactly what you're saying.
You're getting in on it because it's the cool thing to do.
But this kind of latches... I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
I know, I'm sorry.
But this kind of latches on your personal ideology of, if I had to suffer, do more people have to suffer in the future? Now, don't take that quite, literally.
What do you mean by that?
Just because something was hard for me, does that mean it has to be hard if somebody else wants to experience the same thing? It's like saying... if I got made fun of for playing Pokemon cards, does that mean that's a part...
Like, you need to get made fun of. That's part of liking Pokemon, is getting made fun of.
Yeah, and that's kind of part of your personal... that's part of a personal, ethical thing. How you think about things. And it's not right or wrong. Struggle builds character. But at the same time, someone's allowed to have a surface-level interest in things and take part in that if they like it, to even a smallest degree.
yes, you're allowed to have a surface level interest in something. I'm not saying that you're not. But what
Like, I'm
saying
sure
is,
half the people that play Pokemon Go don't claim to be someone that's caught every Pokemon or that owns every game. They just kind of wanted to play it because it was something fun to do.
totally, and I get that, but you have to also like know the history of it. Like, if you're going to play it, you're going to download it, play with your friends for one weekend, whatever, that's fine. But if you're going to sit there and like dedicate time to it and get into it and do the gym battles or the whatever the fucks they were at the time, right? Like, understand where that comes from, because what's so interesting about all this blue and yellow that I have on the shelf here, and like, I don't know if it comes out on the video or not, but there's Nuka-Cola bottles back here that I made. Here's a Mentats tin that I made back in the day. Like, there's love and appreciation that goes into all of this. So when I see somebody jumping on the bandwagon, it hurts a little bit because they're going to try to have the same enthusiasm that I have, but they don't have half the history. With time comes appreciation. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
So
And not
don't say
everyone
you
is willing
watched
to...
3 Spider-Man movies and you're the biggest fucking Marvel nerd.
Yeah.
You could, if I asked you what issue the symbiote suit showed up in, I think it's 350. I'm probably wrong.
I couldn't tell you.
But you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, if you want to say, I like this, go ahead and like it. You know what's one fandom that I've dived into but never dived completely into because of the gatekeeping?
No.
Record
I'm
collecting.
actually glad you brought up gatekeeping. I was going to say that a lot of this could be having to do with gatekeeping.
Yeah. I
Duh.
have my collection of records. It's not huge. It's maybe 100 of them. It's right over there, and my record player is right there. And I don't play my records as often because I've been so busy lately, but one of the things I remember tweeting out on my old Twitter, something about collecting records, and I got 4 replies, and all of them were like, you probably don't even own 100 records. You probably use a fucking, what's those shitty ones that I always make fun of?
The Crosley...
The Crosley fucking Cruisers.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. Like, here I am talking about gatekeeping, but I see Crosleys being sold at Walmart and Barnes & Noble, and I'm like, if you buy this, you're an idiot. But also, it goes into researching something. Everything has a history, right? Mm-hmm. I wear these Carhartt shirts and Levi jeans because I like the history of those companies.
And you value the quality of the product.
Yes. Like, I have hats here that I have them because there's a story attached to them. Like, here's the captain's hat that I wore in our cooking video. I have this because I always wanted a captain's hat, and then it became like, oh, we're going to a party, I'm going to be the dude with the captain's hat. Like,
Yeah.
It became a thing. Like, I have a hat here that's of one of my favorite restaurants in Brooklyn. I have a hat here that is... from when I went to Portland. I have a hat that's a Portland hat. I have a little toy right there. It's a little aluminum. I could grab it, but I have to move and I have to reset everything. It's a little aluminum train that is a Shell gas train, and I have it because it was one of the first items that when I set up a little antique booth, some guy traded with me, and I was like, oh, this is neat. And it sits there. You know what I mean?
You find sentimental value in things, and I think that's awesome. I do too. But not a lot of people do. Not everyone does.
Then, like, I don't know. Like, I don't get getting into something, and I'm not trying to sound ranty, but, like, I don't get getting into something and trying to appropriate, and I don't like saying this term because I don't believe it's a real problem. I think it's a problem when there's not appreciation behind it, but I think there's a difference between appropriation and appreciation in a big way.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like, okay, cultural appropriation, there was a restaurant in Harlem that was selling 40s in a brown paper bag for like $23.
That's appropriative, yeah.
Yeah, but appreciative is when someone who, like, you could like the Fallout games, and Fallout 4 could be your first game, and you could learn everything about that game, but don't claim to be a lore master, right?
Yeah.
Like, someone called me a lore master the other day, and I was like, no, not at all. Like, I don't know everything. I don't like that title. I don't want to be referred to as that. You took me to a GameStop in a mall once, and you said, "Oh, I know the guy who works here. He loves Fallout. He's a huge Fallout fan." And I remember I went in and I asked him a question about Fallout, and he flipped it around and said like two things wrong. And I remember
really?
I just went, "Oh, okay." And I walked out, and I remember I looked at you, I go, "He doesn't know what he's fucking talking about." Like, don't claim to be what you're not. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So,
And with
to
that-
bring it back to the gays.
With that, yeah, I was just gonna say that was a really good segue.
Yeah.
This kind of falls into the topic of queer baiting, and for those of you that don't know, I'm gonna just read a quote that very easily sums it up. It's from that article. But nowadays, we do see publishers queer baiting, which is to say, touting inclusion in an attempt to gain kudos and to market a game to a queer audience while completely failing to follow up in the game itself. For example, Tracer may be the poster child for Blizzard's massive success Overwatch, but the fact that she's a lesbian is left to a small online comic with no mention of her sexuality making it into the game itself.
Yep.
And
I forgot about that.
yeah, so that's a kind of a small example of queer baiting, and that's
Can we talk about that for a second?
about queer baiting or about Tracer?
Overwatch.
Sure.
Kind of, yeah. I don't know if I've ever said it on here. The first time I ever played Overwatch, I picked Roadhog because I remember going, "Oh, he's a fat guy. Cool." As someone who is large, I've never seen, I don't want to say my people, but I've never seen big people be represented in any way that wasn't just he's lazy and he likes food. So Roadhog's first initial that I got from it, like the initial impression, wasn't lazy and likes food. When he heals himself, sure, it kind of looks like he's eating something, but he also wears a gas mask and he's like inhaling something. Okay, fine. But I never once took it as this is a fat dude who's sloppy and lazy and just a glutton. Like, and I really, really appreciated that. But when Tracer came out, when they had the comic of Tracer coming out, it didn't feel like it was being done as anything other than to just say, "Hey, remember our game? Remember our cover? Yeah. Gay?" Like, it didn't
Yeah.
feel like it was and when, what's his name, 76? And I've said this on a previous episode, when Soldier 76 came out as gay, it didn't seem like it was something that was...
It was a slow news day.
Exactly, that's what it felt like. It was like, guys, our numbers are dropping. Fucking gay. Like, it just feels like make a character... Okay, perfect example. When I wrote the newest episode of Nuclear Family, I wrote Leon as a gay guy. Not because I just wanted that joke of Richard going, "Oh," I wanted the joke... No, I didn't want a joke. I wanted it to be... I want to explore how sexuality and race don't exist anymore after the bombs drop, because we don't worry about that. We worry about
Survival.
how are we going to eat.
Yeah.
So
It becomes
I
a
thought-
secondary or non-issue.
Yes. So I thought, okay, how do we do this? And in the original script, I remember Leon died, and you were like, "Don't do that. That's a trope and a bad one."
Yep. For those of you who aren't familiar, the trope of introducing a queer character and then killing them off or having them have horrible tragedy that's just like excessive is called bury your gays.
It was.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
It's like quite literally by killing the character that is gay or giving them trauma and burying them.
And I wasn't trying to... The script was going to go a totally different way from what had happened, so it wasn't like I was just introducing him to be gay and then be dead. It was something else was going to happen. And I didn't want... I don't want to be... I want to be... When I write something, like, I want to be tropey when it's needed, when the trope is the joke.
Yes.
I don't want the trope to be the content. So...
I know exactly where you're coming from in that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why, and I don't believe in censoring myself in any way possible. I think all words should be fair game as long as you're not using them with
malicious
malice.
intent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I should be able to say whatever. If I want to say a word, I should be able to say the word in reference to the word's existence, or the phrase, or like how I joked and said, "Oh, can I use the F word because my best friend's gay?" Like, yes, that's obviously a joke, but at the same time, I'm not using it in a derogatory sense.
Yeah.
I'm using it as a reference to the word itself.
And
Now-
I feel like in a perfect world, that's how things would be, but people are just kind of shitty. So it's
But-
really easy to get caught up in a slippery slope of referencing a word and then using the power that people give it to hurt people.
See, but that's a thing that I think falls onto other people, right? I think it's a mentality thing. I think, yes, you can be, let's say wallaby, right, is a derogatory term. Or maybe it is for Australians. Whatever. Let's just say if you're a kid with blonde hair and you're short, they call you wallaby, right? Like, what are you doing, wallaby? Like, that's like a derogatory term for short blonde kids with blonde hair. Like, is it offensive because people told you it's offensive, or is it offensive because it's offensive?
Because of its actual meaning or
Like,
symbolism, yeah.
How much of it is just sheep mentality? How much of it is like, I always got made fun of because I was a big dude. I've always been heavy. I've always been large. I've always been broad. So I remember realizing, oh, that's the power. The power that these other people have is making fun of me because of my size. Okay, you're fat. Yeah, I am fat. I should lose some weight. Well, fuck, I just took all the power out of the word. You know what I mean? I think a lot of it has to, and I'm not saying that, like, oh, if someone calls you a homo, right? Like, it's not just, oh, like, you should be like, you shouldn't just say flip it and be like, oh, yes, I am. Huh. But, like, at the same time, realize that a word is only a word and only has the power you give it. Like a word is not a knife. A knife, no matter which way you flip it, has a sharp end.
Yes.
A word is a word. When I speak, when you listen, we're going, oh my God, we're going long.
Yeah. We're going to have to put a little disclaimer like, hey, we went a little bit long. I think we're having a good conversation, though.
Yeah. When you listen to us bark at you, if you choose to listen to the show, speech is nothing but barks that we have interpreted to mean something. So, like, if I call you a canvas mouth motherfucker, right?
What does that
Like-
even fucking mean?
Exactly, but how do you know that in 50 years that's not as bad as the N-word? You know what I mean? So, like, words
I
only
see.
have the meaning you give it. So,
And vocabulary and languages change over time. That's the biggest
Okay.
problem.
I'm going to say something, and if you want me to censor it, I'll definitely censor it.
Okay.
I can't call you the F word because it's wrong. But if I go to England and I walk into a store and I want to buy cigarettes, I can say, "Let me get a pack of fags." Can I not?
Absolutely.
So should I censor that or no?
I would give you the seal of the gay on that.
Do I get the F word pass?
You get the F word pass on that, but mostly
you
because
understand what I'm saying.
yeah, we're constructing a figurative argument here, and yeah, that's a part of localization. That's a part of language. Like you went to the South, you probably heard phrases that you've never heard here in the North.
Yes.
It's all a part of localization, and actually, localization in video games is super interesting. And I'd love to talk about it sometime. Because it's more than just translating what the words mean. It's constructing it to have a parallel in that the region that you're going to. Super cool.
It's also the cadence in which you say it.
Yeah. There's a lot that goes into localization, and I think it's a really cool topic.
And I think that's what puts me off of anime, is that the cadence is just...
It's a little bit...
It doesn't seem... It's like... He's from the other tribe, isn't he? I've heard much things about them. Like, it's like, oh, there's not even a comma. Like, let's just space that out just a little bit. Like, I don't know, that's just... What I'm getting at is words have... I understand why words hurt. I understand why people think that a word can hurt them. But I think just saying the word itself isn't terrible. I think you have to understand the power that word holds. But you can't say fuck on TV.
Yeah, the act of uttering a word isn't inherently immoral. Like, I could say pizza, and me saying pizza is not immoral.
As an Italian, I'm a little offended that you're using our word.
I can say pizza,
You know what I mean?
and it's not an inherently moral or immoral action.
Yeah.
It all has to do with context and meaning and power and intent.
The word, and I'm going to say it, get ready everybody, the word retarded.
Okay, yeah, that's one that's brought up pretty often.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think there's the actual like Merriam-Webster definition means to slow down or to be slow.
Yes, which people have a mental retardation. Is that not still being used, or?
I think there's different medical terms for it nowadays,
Okay.
but it means like the same thing.
But, okay,
But
with
having
that being
a
said,
having a mental
I'm not-
disability does
I'm not in
mean
the
you're
medical
slow.
field, so I don't know when the words are changing.
Right,
I don't
right,
have
right.
anybody in my life that is affected by that, so I don't know when these words are changing.
And that all swings back to personal culture and personal experience. Like, all of this stuff really, it does tie into your personal experiences. And I think that's why being in the age of the internet, our personal experiences reach bounds that we can't even think about. So we're in
Okay.
such an era of turmoil because we can share our ideas and our experiences with so many more people.
I'm going to tell you, you want to talk about your personal experience? Let me tell you a story.
Okay.
I said earlier in this episode that I was lucky enough to grow up with my great-grandmother in my life, right?
Right.
I was playing Sonic Adventure 1 Director's Cut for the fucking GameCube, right?
Yeah.
And I beat some level, and the name starts scrolling, and it's all Japanese names.
Mm-hmm.
My grandmother was born in my great-grandmother was born in 1919. And she was in my room, and she's watching these names, and she goes, "Look at these fucking Japanese."
She was
And I
20
remember
at the
going-
time of, like, Pearl Harbor.
Exactly. I remember
Yeah.
going, "What the fuck, Grandma? Like, you can't be saying shit like that." And I went to my mom. I was a little boy. I was like 8, 9 years old. I went to my mom and I was like, "Mom, I think Grandma's racist." And she's like, "What?" And I was playing a game and she just went, "Look at all these fucking Japanese." And she's like, No. She was young when Pearl Harbor happened, and she had friends at Pearl Harbor. So back then, it was just like you were upset with the Japanese. And it's the same way why people don't like people of like Middle Eastern descent because of 9/11.
9/11.
You know what I mean? But like here, I work
It's
with
like
old
rotting. It's like one rotten egg in the batch, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I work with these old white men. They still refer to people that are black as colored. And
It's an
I know
antiquated
they're-
term at this point. Yeah.
I know they're not doing it like they're not saying it like, "Oh, that colored fella." They're saying it like, "Oh, the colored fella at the park right now who we spoke to earlier." It's not like,
It's not out of malice. It's just the vocabulary that they know.
yes. And it's one of those like, I know, like, and it catches you off guard because you're not used to hearing it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm always like, whoa, hold on, let's wait a second.
Yeah.
Like,
Let's
'cause I'm
translate this
not-
to millennial.
Well, no, I also think that that's extremely arrogant. That if you heard somebody say, they'd be like, "Hey man, don't say that anymore," because whose fucking business is it of yours? Like, they're not looking to change it. You know what I mean? Like,
At the same time, I would like to, like, if you are friends with someone and you're around someone, and they say something that like offends you, and you like put trust in this person, I feel like it's okay to say, "Hey, that I really don't like that term. Would you mind not saying it around me?" And I think that's not
no, that's unacceptable.
like if you called me the F word like on a regular and I didn't like it and I found offense in that, I would tell you.
No, okay, but am I using it in the derogatory sense?
No, but there is still the social meaning that comes with it. Like, I am very careful around people, like older people in the queer community, because
Oh, that's oh my god.
because you can't say certain things. Like, even the term queer culture or queer identities could be something that is not okay to say around older people in the community, because the word queer is so stigmatized to them, because that was a scathing,
derogatory
cutting
term.
insult. Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
kind of this, it's a similar thing. Like, if something makes me uncomfortable, I would like to express that to someone that I trust.
See, but I don't.
But I wouldn't, if I was talking with someone at the mall and they said it, that's not my business to correct them.
That's exactly, yeah. And I think even for you to, like, if say I kept calling you canvassy, right?
Yeah.
You canvassy looking motherfucker. Like,
Yeah.
if I kept saying that, then you're like, hey, it's one thing to be like, hey, that makes me uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. And it's another thing to be like, you can't say that anymore.
And that's important. Having a conversation like that it's important to address it respectfully.
Yes,
can't,
I remember.
You can't push your ideas on people. And we said that at the beginning of the show. We're not here to try to push ideas on you or even on each other. Like, Vince and I both have different experiences. But we just want to kind of exchange our ideas. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Up, yeah.
So, like, you could tell me a story that is someone at the mall said some shit to you because you had a pride button on or something.
Or that I have pink hair.
Well, I mean, that's not inherently gay.
Yeah.
I used to have pink hair.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I forgot about that.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. You know what I mean? Like, it's left of center, but it's not gay. It's out there.
Left of center.
It's different. You know what I mean? Like, it's
I like that.
it's what are the hair colors? Blonde, red, black, brown.
Yeah, and then some
gray.
shades in between.
You know, yeah. So, like, oh, he has blue hair. You got to watch out for people with blue hair, though. But like, it's. I'm really interested in language, and like how I said before, it's barks that we're just verbalizing and giving meaning to, and I think that's super interesting, and it's something that I don't think is explored a lot in just basic human communication.
Yeah.
Is that like if I tell a joke and you laugh, what is a laugh? Like, it's my stomach muscles convulsing in a manner and my lungs pushing out air through my trachea. Like, you know what I mean?
To express jubilance.
Like, what the fuck is a laugh?
Yeah, right? Like,
okay, the Japanese don't understand. They don't have sarcasm, right?
A bunch of cultures don't use sarcasm.
Okay, aliens laugh tomorrow. Somebody cracks a joke. How do you know we're not going to get vaporized? What the fuck was that shit?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You understand what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying. I do have one other thing to say, though.
Sorry, I apologize.
I was actually going to transition to Shane Ivers. Are you okay with that, or do you want to keep going?
You want to have one final statement on everything?
Yeah. Closing arguments. I think that representation and sexualization in video games they're not simple one-dimensional topics. There's a lot of cultural backgrounds that go into these things, and a lot of thought that should go into representing things like that properly. Do you have any closing thoughts?
Whoever you are is fine. It's important to figure out who you are and to understand who you are and to know who you are and to be comfortable with who you are. But it's only important to you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
No, seriously, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, how
it's
you primarily before, your problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How you said before, experience is everything.
Yeah.
I don't understand to an extent, your experiences or Kyle's experiences or anybody else that you and I both know. I don't understand their experiences. I might have something shared, but I wasn't there. I don't know what the air smelled like. I don't know what sneakers I was wearing when it happened. I don't know what the other person's look on their face was as it happened. Who you are is very important to yourself. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that you're not important. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Can I add an addendum to that?
Sure.
If it sounds like I was ever talking out of my ass, I'm really sorry. Like I said, words change and definitions and meanings change.
I'd like to I would like to sign my name on that line too. We are not experts in literally anything.
Yeah,
we just kind of had conversations here. We had a chat, and we wanted to do it in the most respectful way possible.
And like, if that Down syndrome thing was fucked up, again, I'm sorry. I didn't know. I apologize.
Yeah.
I know you shouldn't like apologize, but if it's something that I'm genuinely wrong on, like, you shouldn't apologize for a joke. Like, a joke is a joke, haha.
Yeah.
But like, at the same time,
You don't want to go out of your way to make people uncomfortable. Like
I wasn't making a joke. So if I used it in a like, I actually really kind of feel like fucked up about it. But yeah, I don't shove things down people's throats for the sake of doing it just to do it. But it's important to know who you are. And who you are is important to yourself, like I said. And I think that's all I want to say. Let's talk about Shane.
I was gonna say there is one thing I do want to shove down your throat, and that's Shane Ivers. If you would like to, if you want to get our intro music, that is Feather Duster. That's by Shane Ivers. You can get that at www.silvermansounds.com/free music/featherdustervince. Hit them with the social media.
You can find social media for myself and Declan in the description below. It should be on screen as well. There's also a social media link for all the big ones to the show. Declan put that on screen as well if you don't already. It's already on screen, right?
Yeah, it should be like down there. Or no, it's down there, I think. Yeah, I think I got the directions right already. Yeah.
Don't learn them. It's funnier if you don't learn them.
I honestly forget.
We also... fuck, that totally threw me out of whack. We have a Patreon. We also have a Patreon. You can find the link to in the description to the Patreon. It's just if you like the show, you want to throw us a couple bucks so you get it a little bigger, a little faster, a little stronger, a little better. The show will always be free. Atomic Radio Hour will never be behind a paywall. It's just a way to help us get better equipment, or so we can pay our podcasting fees, or what else can we do, Declan? We can get better software, better hardware.
Yeah, your mic is crapping out.
Is it? Does it sound bad?
No, it sounds fine, but like we were talking about the other week, like how it wasn't working properly.
I was going to go, my guy, we talked for fucking an hour and 40 minutes so far, and you don't tell me? Again, sorry about the long episode, guys. No, but yeah, it's there. There's also our Discord. Hop on in. It's always popping. We can have a conversation. You could message. You can hit me with a fucking @me, and then talk to me. Talk to Declan. Talk to anybody else.
You could Boone's wife us.
Yeah, hit us with a couple Boone's wife. Mm-hmm. I think that's everything. Oh, we have a Twitch. It exists. We're actually kind of like in the middle of working on getting something figured out with it. Is there anything else I forgot to plug?
We've got some special projects coming up.
Yeah.
And for anyone who was mad about not hearing Country Roads last week, or 2 weeks ago, I've decided that I would rather do it with you as a duet and a music video.
Wow, a music video?
Yeah, at one point you had said...
that kind of budget?
Maybe with Patreon. But I remember like a couple weeks ago we were talking about it, and you were like, yo, let's like make a video of it. And I was like, hell yeah.
Declan, I'm bleeding.
You're bleeding?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I was scratching my leg, and then I went to like do this with my nose.
Well, I'm gonna drive into the hospital. Bye, everyone.
It's my finger smelled irony, and I'm scared.
He's dying.
Bye.
Hey there, guys. Just realized that we forgot to talk about Patreon. So, if you want to support the show, you can always find us at the link in the description below. We offer some cool stuff, like getting your name shouted out. And I'm actually going to do that right now. We have the fabulous Noah, and also the Friendly Companion Cube. Thank you so much for supporting the show and us and believing in us. And yeah, if you want to see the show get better and better, remember Atomic Radio Hour is always going to be free, but we can hook you up with some other cool benefits. All right, love y'all. See ya.
Atomic Radio Hour.